For billions of years, the Sun has ruled our solar system in absolute dominance. A colossal sphere of plasma and fire, radiating power across billions of kilometers, shaping worlds, stripping atmospheres, and defining the delicate boundaries where life can exist. It has been the one constant in the sky, steady, timeless, and unchallenged. No known force has ever changed its will, nor altered the flow of its mighty solar wind. Until now. Recently, buried deep in data from NASA's Parker Solar Probe and the European Space Agency's Solar Orbiter, researchers noticed something that shouldn't have been there: a distortion within the very breath of the Sun itself. The solar wind, a torrent of charged particles streaming through space, should have flowed in clean, predictable lines. But this current was bending. It wasn't turbulence. It wasn't interference. It carried structure, geometric, repeating, deliberate. At the heart of this strange disturbance, something was moving. Something small by cosmic standards, but utterly unlike anything ever seen before. They called it 3I, Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar visitor ever detected, following Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. At first, astronomers thought it was another icy relic, a wandering fragment from another star system, drawn briefly into the Sun's influence before vanishing into darkness again. But this one refused to behave like any known comet or asteroid. Its brightness pulsed at precise intervals, not random reflections, but rhythmic patterns, as though it were transmitting in light. Each pulse followed mathematical order, a consistency that defied natural explanation. It was as if the object were speaking in code, in light itself. Then came the discovery that changed everything. When the James Webb Space Telescope turned its gaze toward the traveler, its instruments detected something impossible. 3I, ATLAS was not merely reflecting sunlight, it was modulating it. Photons were being absorbed and re-emitted in frequencies that looked engineered. The timing of these fluctuations matched the distortions in the solar wind recorded by Parker and Solar Orbiter. It was as though the Sun and this visitor were communicating, two forces locked in a pattern beyond human understanding. No natural object could do this. No random rock could twist plasma across millions of kilometers. And yet, 3I, ATLAS did. Parker's sensors detected spiral waves curling around an invisible axis, a focal point that, when traced, aligned perfectly with the object's coordinates. It was as if the Sun's plasma was orbiting something unseen, not because of gravity, but because of influence. At first, NASA called it coincidence, a quirk of solar magnetism. But when the Solar Orbiter, observing from an entirely different position, detected the exact same distortion, the explanation fell apart. Two probes, two vantage points, one undeniable event. The Sun's own wind, the very outflow that defines the edge of the solar system, was being redirected by something no larger than a mountain. Physically, that should be impossible. To bend plasma at that scale would require a magnetic field millions of times stronger than Earth's. It was like watching a pebble steer a hurricane. The implications were staggering. 3I, ATLAS might not be natural at all. It might be engineered. Simulations hinted that it carried an active magnetic field, one that changed dynamically in response to solar radiation. Infrared data from Webb showed fluctuating heat emissions, suggesting some form of controlled energy conversion, as if it were feeding on sunlight itself. The brighter it became, the stronger the solar wind distortion grew. It behaved like a feedback loop, an object using the Sun as its power source. Some scientists began to refer to it as a stellar siphon, a theoretical construct capable of drawing usable energy directly from a star's plasma stream. Others proposed something far stranger: an observer, or even a probe, sent by an unknown intelligence, using the stars themselves as fuel. Every new dataset deepened the mystery. Its faint magnetic pulses repeated every 4.3 seconds, not random, but perfectly consistent. Its energy signature reversed polarity at regular intervals. And rather than disintegrating near perihelion, it grew stronger, almost as if awakening. Light and plasma seemed to move in harmony. When the object brightened, the solar wind twisted tighter. When it dimmed, the flow relaxed. The relationship was exact, as if the object and the sun were locked in a kind of communication. No natural process could produce such precision. It was control or intention. If 3I Atlas is artificial, then it operates using principles beyond human engineering, perhaps manipulating magnetism itself as a propulsion or communication system. Models suggested it would need to channel energy in the terawatt range, enough to power entire civilizations. That led to an astonishing possibility. 3I Atlas could represent technology from a Type II civilization, a society capable of harnessing the total energy of its star. Humanity, by contrast, has not yet reached Type I, but even that explanation failed to capture its elegance. The solar distortion was not brute force. It was graceful, harmonic, as though the sun and the traveler were resonating together, sharing energy rather than fighting for it. For the first time in history, we weren't just observing the cosmos. The cosmos seemed to be responding. Maybe 3I Atlas isn't a probe in the sense we understand, not a ship of metal or circuits, but something living in energy, a structure of magnetism and plasma, a consciousness written in light. When the solar wind bent, perhaps it wasn't an act of force, but a conversation. Imagine a being that travels not through propulsion, but through resonance, surfing the magnetic tides of stars, drifting across galaxies as waves of awareness. To such entities, stars would not be distant lights, they would be oceans. And our sun, just another shore. How many times, then, have such travelers passed unnoticed? How many signals have been hidden in the background hum of starlight? How many moments of contact have slipped past our instruments, because we never knew how to listen? Now, as 3I Atlas drifts beyond Neptune's orbit, its faint pulses continue to echo in solar data, steady, deliberate, repeating. A lingering whisper in the plasma sea. Perhaps it's nothing more than a natural mystery we've yet to understand. Or perhaps, it is the first signal we were finally ready to hear. Because the real question is not what 3I Atlas is, but why it came. Was it studying? Refueling? Or was it waiting? Measuring the curiosity of a young civilization that has only just begun to look beyond its own sky? If light is the language of the universe, then maybe this was the first time we truly heard it speak. And if so, then the bending of the solar wind wasn't defiance at all, but a greeting. A message written in sunlight. A quiet reminder that we are not alone. That intelligence might exist not as life, but as energy, as thought made of stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the heliosphere, something luminous may have turned its attention toward us, and whispered, "We see you. Keep listening." Because beyond the edge of the solar wind, something still stirs. And it might just be waiting for